New Jersey did it. New Jersey did it. New Jersey did it.
Test. That's live. That's live. Let's check yours.
Just talk. Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Music on the track.
Hi, Darren. Okay. Closer. Oh, in the picture.
We test. You got me. Test. Test. Yeah. I hear it sort of. There we go. Yeah. There.
I want to sit back a little bit because I'm a loud breather. I don't want to be all like Darth Vader into the mic. It won't pick it up. Okay.
Cool. Bop. All right, this is fun. Here we go. Go live. And good morning, my people. Look out. Here we are. The Road to a Million show is on. It's live. Here we are. I'm Daron C. Campbell, your host, your real estate mentor, hardest working man in real estate. We are together going all the way to the top. Today is a super special day. It's exciting. It's fun because I got my friend, my homie, my coaching student, my mentee, my girl, Tamra Pulliam. Wait, tell me exactly which name we're using. Because sometimes she gets a little maiden name in there and some. Tell everybody exactly who you are, beautiful.
Good morning, Darren. Thank you for having me on your show. I am Tammy Pulliam. My friends and family call me Tammy, so you're correct.
That's what I call her, Tammy. So there you go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This lady drove 126 miles to be on this show this morning. I want to thank you for making the journey.
Thank you. Anything I can do to support you, and thank you for using your platform to uplift and help me grow.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome stuff. You know, Tam is one of the original DC coaching students, mentees, etc. And she has taken what little bit of wisdom I have given her and has blown her business up, and it's got momentum and is doing deals and you're relatively new to the game, right?
I am. I've been a realtor for about 2 years now. My first year, I was kind of fiddling around, trying to feel my way out, through the industry. And then I met you, and my life changed.
See, I like to hear that. I appreciate that. But you have absolutely been one of those people that took what I said and took what other mentor types and leaders have said, and you plugged it right in. And so, you're to be commended about is the spirit and the work ethic that you brought to the game, and that's exciting stuff.
I appreciate that
because we're seeing results. That's the whole thing. You see, I could preach all day long and I can rant all day long, but if you don't put anything into action, nothing's gonna happen. Tam is one of those people who you tell her, fly this way, and she's already on the plane flying that way 5 minutes later. So that's a great attribute. Where'd you get your work ethic from?
My mother. My mother was always a hard worker, and my father, but mainly my mother because she was my model.
She was your model, huh? Mm-hmm. Tell us about her and how she got you this way, how she brought you up. Anything?
Pretty much, I just always watched her.
Yeah.
Her work ethic was unparalleled. She started working at the age of 18. And she retired 37 years later.
Wow.
Just plugging away, always investing, saving her money.
Is that right?
Yeah.
She was investing, huh?
Investing and saving her money, and retired well at the age of 55.
She was able to retire at 55?
55.
See, that's rare.
Very rare.
That's
you don't see that these days.
In our community and beyond. So what kind of work does she do?
She retired as a manager from Social Security Administration.
Is that right?
Yeah, so when she was 18, she graduated high school and did what people in that era did. She got a good government job, and it worked for her.
And she stuck with it.
She stuck with it.
She had the stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
My man is fixing my mic. Well, I'm echoing. You guys hearing me echo? That's fine. All right. I was messing up on the mic, but so
Oh, that's much better.
So you got you adopted mom's work ethic.
I did.
So as a kid, I like digging into people's like history. So as a kid, what are some of the things she would? I know you were watching her, and you'd see her go to work and do her thing at work and not miss work and all that stuff.
Yes.
But as far as raising her kids are concerned, what was, did you guys have certain things you'd have to do from a disciplinary standpoint or a work ethic standpoint?
Oh, for sure. I always work hard, do my homework. I had chores, that sort of thing. I started working at the age of 14 for the state of California, Department of Veterans Affairs.
What?
I did.
Was that legal?
It was a summer job.
Okay.
So every summer I did that. And once I graduated high school, they offered me a job.
Nice.
Yeah, so I followed in her footsteps that way. One of the things that she told me to do when I was in high school was take business classes. So I took business, English, shorthand, typing, that sort of thing. So it helped me in the work industry.
That is awesome stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. The reason I ask and I get it all in your business like that is because I observe people that have risen quickly through the real estate or the business ranks. I see people who come to me and say, help me rise through those ranks. And then I've interviewed and hired 200 or 300 or 400 people who have become mega successful real estate agents or salespeople. And there's this interesting common theme. Their parents influenced their work ethic. It's so interesting. Their parents, now there are people I know people who are doing little or nothing, and their parents are super successful, but the parents didn't instill that work ethic, so the next generation doesn't illustrate it. They don't show it. And a lot of times it's because maybe they had too much.
Yes, I believe that. And I see that with this generation, the millennials.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
They're a different breed.
A lot of folks don't have work ethic, and they want the quick fix, or they want the instant riches, or they want the magic pill.
Right.
And we all know it really doesn't exist. And so, again, you exemplify exactly what I'm talking about. I see you as a rising star in this real estate game.
you.
But I can predict your success. I know it's going to happen because of what you just told me about your mom. It's the funny thing. And so maybe that's a little roadmap for all of us. Our kids, even if they're 20-something-year-old kids, we still need to encourage them to finish things, to set out to achieve things, to have goals, to have objectives.
Right.
And a lot of folks are devoid of goals, a mission.
Well, you see a lot of social media people rising to stardom, and I think it's infectious, and everyone thinks it can be them, especially with the younger generation. So,
and you know what? The funny thing about that is the social media superstar that's got 10 million followers is kind of like the television star or the pro athlete of the previous generation. That's a 1 in a 10 million shot.
right.
And so, if you really want to ensure your success, I think you got to decide where you want to go, what lane you want to run in, and become great at that.
Absolutely.
With work, hard
work.
Is that like a lost concept, hard work? On some.
It's a dying art for sure.
On some people,
There's an old saying, you have to crawl before you walk, and
Yep.
it still holds true today.
It really is. There's no overnight success. The funny thing is, even these internet sensations don't tend to be overnight successes, right?
Right.
So like, there's some little girl who's 15 or 16 years old, and she's got like 10 million followers. Marlon, you know who that is? Some little girl. She used to be. Well, I was like, I had never heard of her, but my friend's son knew about her, and she lived nearby, so we were like, that's her house, and they got all these cars in the driveway and all this stuff, and somebody said she's got 10 million followers. So I decided to do a little homework. I'm gonna think of her name. I'll tell you guys when I think of her name. But some little internet sensation little girl, and I'm thinking, well, I never heard of her? How did she just pop up and get 10 million viewers or followers? Turns out, she didn't just pop up and get 10 million followers.
Right.
She was some kid beauty queen, beauty contestant.
Okay.
From the age of 4 her mom was crazy and was was driving her to beauty contests every week, and it was a grind. And here we are 10 years later.
Right.
She's got 10 million followers, but the kid hasn't had a childhood, and what childhood she has been on camera.
Yeah.
So it's even that is not an overnight sensation.
No, because when you start out on social media, you start out with just a few followers, you know, your friends and family, and you have to post constantly and grow yourself and do all kinds of crazy things to get people to notice you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So tell us about your career. We know you're in real estate now, and we're going to talk about how to plan for 2020. That's a big segment for you guys. Tam and I are going to map out 2020, and we'll give you some examples of how you could maybe map out your 2020. But in the meantime, tell us about your evolution. How'd you go from working? You got a government job at 14. Now tell us how you sped all the way through and landed here. Give us your evolution.
Honestly, it started when I moved to the Inland Empire. I'm from the Los Angeles area, grew up in South Bay. Moved to the Inland Empire for more affordable housing for my family, better school district, and that sort of thing. Well, the commute on the freeway was
Kick your
enough.
butt.
I could only do that for so long.
Yeah.
So inevitably, it made sense for me to try to work closer to home.
Okay.
That was in the 90s. There was not a lot of jobs in that area. It was still growing. So my husband and I went into business for ourselves, and we opened up a residential care facility for children with special needs and medical challenges.
Wow.
I also have a background in nursing.
Wow. Wait a minute. You got a background in nursing. You're skipping over stuff. Now, how did that
The
happen?
background in nursing came subsequent to me opening the residential care facility for special needs children. Because I was getting calls for placement with children that had severe medical challenges, I wanted to be better equipped
To handle those. And take those clients.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there were children that I would pick up from the hospital sometimes, literally, and the hospital nurses would give me the training, but I wanted a more in-depth training to ensure that I was doing things correctly and providing the best care possible for the children.
Okay. And so you guys opened a home. Is it a home where they live there, or is it a daycare?
They lived in my home.
Oh, wow.
When you have a home like that for children under the age of 18, they don't want it to be like a facility. They want it to be more of a family setting. So they lived in my home with me and my family.
Wow. And now when would they see their people or their parents or whatever? How did that work?
Well, it depended on the circumstances. Oftentimes, I got children that were in the system due to neglect or whatever their parents were going through, but because they were special needs, they needed to be placed in a specialized home. So that's where I came in.
So this seems like a hybrid between a foster home and a special needs care facility.
Kind of. Foster children are more transient.
Okay.
My care was more long-term, which resulted in me adopting two children.
Okay.
You've met one of my sons,
Yeah,
Eric.
I met your son.
Yes. I've had him since he was 6 years old. He's now 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, wait, I met him in Vegas at the big NAREB event, right?
You did.
Right.
You did.
Nice boy. He's a nice kid.
Thank you.
Now, so how long has he been with you?
Since he was 6 years old, so 14 years.
Wow.
So, again, long-term care,
Yep.
it just depends on the circumstances. The goal is always for reunification for the parents and the children. However, if things don't work out and parental rights are terminated, then the children are put up for adoption.
Wow.
Yeah. So Eric is one of two that I adopted. I fell in love with every child that came into my home,
I'll
but
bet.
I just
I'll bet.
my husband looked at me and said, "Look, we can't adopt the world."
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that is awesome. Well,
Yeah,
Eric
thank
is a
you.
great dude,
Thank
so
you.
that is fantastic for, I'm sure, his life and definitely for yours as well.
You know, it's really great because I've always been the type of caregiver / mom to, if the family is a good family, we stay in touch.
Yeah.
If there's a
Okay.
way to possibly stay in touch. So he's in touch with his biological brothers who are also adopted and his biological mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So we're a blended family.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That takes some guts and some heart and some heavy duty love that you're passing out there.
Thank you. I appreciate
See,
that.
I'm a bigger fan now than I was I've been for the last year. Well, good for you. All right, so flash forward. Get us all the way to where you got into the real estate business.
I've always had a love for real estate. It's a venture that I started on probably back in 2003. I started taking classes, but just wasn't able to follow through with it because my board and care home was it kept me so busy.
Yeah, it's a full plate.
Eventually, because Eric is 20 years old now, I decided that I was done raising kids. I wanted, it's a labor of love.
Yeah,
and
but it's labor.
It's labor. It requires a lot. It's kind of restrictive in that good caregiving is hard to find. So I was struggling to find good help, and I just didn't get a break.
Yeah.
So it got to be a bit much, and I decided that I wanted to move on and do something else. So I fell back on my love, which is real estate, and here I am.
Okay, so when did you get licensed?
I got licensed for real estate in 2017.
2017. So yeah, you literally 2 years you've been in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, and so now you live in. Do you live in Temecula?
Marietta.
Marietta.
Yes.
Okay, and what have you decided that Marietta is your area of focus? What's your area of focus? Because you know what I preach. I mean, all you guys know what I preach. She's the first person to hear when we first met. Okay, what's your area of expertise? Where are you going to specialize? So what did you decide?
I decided on Corona,
Okay.
in that I lived in Corona initially for 10 years prior to moving to Marietta.
Okay.
And that's an area that I would like to move back to. So that's why it's the area of my focus.
Good choice.
Yeah.
You see, we'll get more into business planning, but what I always recommend to people is choose a farm, or we call it a farm in the real estate game. Choose and it's an area of expertise. It's where you're going to focus your attention. It's where you're going to specialize. It's where you're going to become the king or queen in the real estate game of that area. And I usually recommend that it be either one, where you currently live, two, where you want to live or aspire to live, or three, where you have a natural advantage, meaning maybe you grew up there, or maybe you know 100 people there, or what have you. So any one of those, I recommend be your area of expertise. Now you might also, other people, Tam's obviously chosen a geography as her area of expertise, but I've had students who've chosen a demographic or a client type as an area of expertise. So for instance, I have a client, a coaching student who focused on doctors, investments for doctors, only doctors. And he decided that he wanted to service medical professionals' real estate needs. So anything a doctor or a nurse or a radiologist needed in the world of real estate, he was going to brand himself as the medical real estate guy. I also coached a guy who, this is funny, because I just talked to another buddy about this today, but I coached a guy who branded himself your real estate chef. Now, I thought when he first told me that, I'm like, how the hell does that have anything to do?
Yeah.
Well, how are those related? Funny thing is, he had this pretty substantial weekend catering business. And by branding himself the real estate chef, he'd be at these parties all the time. And people would come up to him and say, you're a chef, but you also do real estate? And he goes, yeah, I do. And they go, well, I'm going to be buying a new house soon, or I'm selling my house next year. And the guy made money cooking good food and gleaning clients from the parties that he did the food at. And so it's interesting because it tells you that there are many ways to master this game, but that example of the real estate chef is a great one that just says, this is a people business. We're networking for business. So a lot of people come into this game and go, well, I'm a salesperson, so let me knock on the doors and make the calls, and they make it as robotic a thing as they can. But really, this game is a finesse game.
It is.
And the people that succeed on the highest level will take the farm, the Corona farm, and insert themselves into that farm in a manner that makes people want to do business with Tam, the person.
Right.
See, Tam, the realtor, is just a concept. Tam, the person, is the lady I want to do business with. It's the lady I want to be familiar with and be friends with. And by the way, have her be the most professional real estate agent I know.
Exactly. It's all about creating relationships.
It's the whole game. It's the whole game. So along those lines, in a little bit, we're going to be business planning. Tam and I are going to business plan for her business right here on camera, right in front of you. You guys are going to get to see us build Tamara's $1 million business plan. I don't know if she knew it was $1 million.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, we're going to get this lady to the top of the food chain in the real estate game in 2020. She's going to the top, and you're going to watch us plan it out for her. And maybe you'll learn something about how to do your business plan. Oh, and by the way, in case you're interested, in case you're wondering, we're going to build Tam's business plan with the Daron Campbell Coaching Business Planning packet. It's a packet, not a kit. And Marlon says you can get one. If you want us to email you one, you want us to send you a digital version of this, you can. What do we want them to do, Marlon? Do we want them to text us or email us at info or what? Send us an email at info@DaronCampbell.com. Info@DaronCampbell.com. And I will send you the ultimate business planning packet. I wrote it, but Marlon built it. He makes it look pretty. You should have seen the one I built. Ooh-wee.
We love Marlon. He does everything.
Marlon makes the stuff look good, which means it makes me look good. So I appreciate that. But if you want a business planning packet, we're gonna walk through it so you'll hear what it's all about. But when you send us that email, we'll send you a digital version of this. You just click on it and fill in all the different departments. And if you want me to evaluate it for you, I will then evaluate it for you and give you, if you like, a phone consultation about how to get your business launched and exploded into 2020. And then, if you should decide that you really want to invest in your business and take it to the whole newest next level, you might even want to talk to me about getting personally coached so that your 2020 can be predictably super. Yes. And has it been valuable to you?
Absolutely. I drove 126 miles to be here.
Hello. If I were failing her, would she have driven 120 miles for me? So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to dive into the real estate practice. We're going to dive into Tam's 2020 business plan. We're going to build it right in front of you, and then we're going to help you build yours. So you can email us at info@DaronCampbell.com. Marlon will send you your own business planning packet. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and do Tam's business plan and show you how she's going to become a top 1% agent in the year 2020. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
mic to the side a little bit because I'm left-handed.
Okay. Okay, we are back. Nick's music is smooth, huh?
It is. I love smooth jazz.
Yeah, that's
Some
good
point.
stuff. That's good stuff. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Road to a Million show. This is the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor, and we're all going together to the top. Somebody that's been on the Road to a Million with me since the beginning is sitting next to me. My girl, Tam. What's up, Tam?
Hey, Daron. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to the show. We're having a good time. We learned a little bit about how we learned a lot about how you got here, how you got your work ethic from your mom, how you got you've been in multiple businesses in your career, how you got this incredible family, and then we fast forward till today, and you're in your second full year in the real estate business. I'm a big fan of yours because I'm watching your rise, and I know you're headed to huge places. And I'm honored to be considered a mentor, coach, and a good friend. So thanks for being here. So what we want to do next is, in order to ensure success, I've found that it's been very important to map your goals out, and as I say all the time, dream in color. And so what that involves is, now a lot of people believe in like some kind of mystical, magical stuff. I believe you make your own magic. So I like to dream, I like to plan, and then I don't like to sit around and like hope God drops it in my lap. I really don't believe that's how it works.
It does not.
Right.
As a person of faith, I do believe that in divine order.
Oh, yeah.
However, there's a scripture that says, faith without works is dead.
Boom. Faith without works is dead. My mother used to quote that one all the time. And see, I think there's a whole lot of pseudo Christians who don't remember that part.
Right.
There's a lot of folks out there praying and praying and praying and hoping and hoping and hoping. And then I got a whole other group of folks that's out there manifesting and manifesting and manifesting. And then they go sit on the couch and watch reality TV. And that's not the way the game works.
Right.
I believe that God / the universe / the higher power, whatever you call it, blesses, rewards effort, and really, really, really blesses and rewards massive action.
Right.
People who are action takers, people who are go-getters, people who are like, screw it, let's do it. Those people seem to get rewards in spades. Those people seem to get the rewards faster and more frequently than anybody I know. See, the
Right.
funny thing is, in my career, I have found that the harder I worked, the luckier I got. And so
That wasn't luck. That was just manifesting.
you know what? Well, there you go. But it seems that those rewards or blessings started compounding when I dove in deeper and harder and put in the work.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so to that end, as I started coaching people 12, 14 years ago, I started going, okay, the way things changed for me when life and business and all that turned a corner, it was when I started planning my business, when I started writing down what it was I wanted to accomplish, and then, not stopping there, then backing that down into what I needed to do an hour from now. So I might say, hey, I want a private jet. I want 10 million in the bank. I want 2,000 apartment units, whatever that is. You start with that massive goal in mind, but then the best way to start making that thing happen is to start backing it down into the small baby steps that you could take today.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So that's where anybody who coaches with me or who I mentor, that's the plan I make them follow. And when you implement that plan, then your dream becomes a goal with a roadmap.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So we're not just praying and sitting around waiting. Okay, now where's it at? Here are the efforts that I can start making to manifest, to make that manifestation happen.
Right. It's about compartmentalizing.
That's right.
One step at a time.
That's right.
Achieving one goal at a time.
That's right. Or you put it in my language, how do you eat that elephant?
One
bite at a time. So, all right. So the way I typically want to start the business planning process is we do sort of an analysis. We do sort of a breakdown of who we are. So it's kind of like taking that honest look in the mirror and telling the truth. And a lot of us don't tell the truth to ourselves. A lot of us are in the business of lying to ourselves, you know? And this is where I say painful honesty is your best friend. Painful honesty. Because look, you might be lying to other people, and that might accomplish something for you, you know, for 5 minutes. But if you're lying to yourself, you got a problem.
Right.
So what I like to do is start with an honest snapshot of where I am, who I am, and be honest about it. That's the tricky part. Be painfully honest. Oh, yeah, let's see. I go to work and I put in 60 hours a week. Well, let's see. Let's dissect that 60 hours. You spend 20 hours a week eating lunch. You spend 15 hours a week shooting the crap at the water cooler or the coffee machine. Right. If you really dissected how many hours you really worked, and I mean worked, then what would that number be? That's what being honest with yourself is all about.
Right.
Right? Okay, so what I like to start with is this idea called a SWOT analysis. SWOT. Now, I didn't invent that. Somebody else invented it, and I heard about it 27 years ago, and I decided that's a good thing to implement. If I knew who gave me the concept, I would tell you, but I don't know. I don't remember. It was book number 212 out of 1,000. I don't know. So, but what it is SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what I encourage people to do is have you fill in a grid. I'm going to show you what the grid looks like. Fill in a grid that has you. I don't know if you can see that. Tribe, can you
there
see
it
that?
is.
The tribe can see that. And you guys here can see it on YouTube. But what it is it makes you fill in these areas that illustrate what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your opportunities are, and what the threats to your success are. And those all exist. We all have some of them. I certainly am the king of some weaknesses. So I got strengths, and a lot of people see what my strengths are. I got weaknesses. You may not all get to see my weaknesses, but trust me, I got a whole list of them. Opportunities, I get many opportunities. And threats, there are things that could threaten my overall success or proliferation. So it's important to be honest with yourself about those so that then you can do something about them. It's how you intelligently plan your success.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to read what the verbiage is about the SWOT analysis, and then we're gonna work on TAMs. We're gonna fill them out. Ready?
Yes.
You in the mood?
I'm excited.
All right. You drove a long way. We're about to chop you up, dissect you, girl. Here we go. All right. The SWOT analysis is a very effective technique for identifying your strengths and weaknesses and for identifying the opportunities and threats you face. Used in a business context, it will help you develop your career in a way that helps you take advantage of your talents, abilities, and opportunities, as well as helping you carve a substantial niche, my favorite word, in your market. Carrying out an analysis of your business using the SWOT framework will help you to focus your activities into areas where you are strong and where the greatest opportunities lie. Wow. Now think about that. Here's the thing. Here's what's important, Tam. When you figure out what you're good at, and conversely, what you figure out what you're weak at, it gives you the opportunity to focus your efforts on your strengths,
Right.
and then get some help with your weaknesses.
Okay.
See, what I recommend is do what you're good at doing and let somebody else do the rest.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So in this analysis, that's what we're going to try to identify. My business didn't take off until I decided, hey, I'm really good in that appointment, right? So this is my example. I'm really, really good in that cocktail party. Well, and a lot of people might think that. I mean, not that I drink a lot. I might drink a little. But the fact is, there seemed to be a penchant that I have for meeting somebody and 15 minutes later, them feeling like they want me to be their realtor, right? And the same thing happens when I talk to people. They seem to quickly want me to be their coach, right?
Right.
But then when it's time for me to assemble a proposal for a 200-unit apartment building, I got that owner convinced that I should be his agent already. He likes hanging out with me. He invited me to play golf at his country club already.
Right.
But when I need to put together a detailed proposal, properly lined up and outlined and intelligent looking and bound and great and slick and shiny, I screw that up real good. And that's why a guy like Marlon is on my team to build the pretty package, because I know I'm terrible at that part.
Marlon, I need to borrow you.
Gonna-
That's where I struggle as well.
Okay, we're gonna get into that right now. We're gonna get
Okay.
into that. So strengths. Here we go. We're gonna ask Tam these questions, and we're gonna go. What are your personal advantages? So what is it that Tam has that a lot of people don't have?
I'm a people person. I'm very comfortable in a setting where I can just meet someone and talk with them, whether it's a grocery store line or at a party.
You connect.
I connect. I have
You
the
connect.
ability to connect.
Okay, so that's the first thing. She is a people person, okay? Now, a lot of people, listen, here's where the honesty comes in, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people, if you ask them if they're a people person, will lie to your face. A lot of people think it's honorable or more honorable to be a people person, so they kind of want to say, yeah, I'm a people person. But I'm here to tell you, a people person is a person that is not afraid to walk up to that person in the grocery store and say, hey, I'm Daron Campbell, I'm in real estate. Who do you know that needs my services in the next 90 days? Now, if you've never done that, it takes a little bit more than no effort. It's a thing. It's a thing, right?
Yes.
And by the same token, if you can't pick up a telephone and dial a complete stranger and say, hey, my name is Daron Campbell, I'm the local real estate agent, I'm the expert in the area, and if you ever sell your home, you need to be talking to me. If you can't do that, you might not be a people person. And I'm telling you, 8 out of 10 people, if I say, are you a people person? They're like, yeah, I'm a people person. But in this business, in the sales world, to be a people person, it means there's a certain amount of fear you don't have. Now, Tam, I know, is a people person, because she rolled up on me like that. Hey, you need to be teaching me. So she's not afraid. But you got to be honest with yourself. If you're not a people person, don't say you are. Okay? Now, you're on point on that. You're 1 for 1 on that one. Okay. What advantages does your company have? We can skip that one. Let's come back to that. What do you do better than anyone else? Now, is there a thing? And this is funny in business planning. I like to help people identify the thing that they do better than anyone else they know, whether it's business related or not. Now, here's the funny thing. Let me give you the example. The freaking real estate chef guy,
Yes.
he was the best cook. He was the best chef. He was a caterer that was kicking butt, right? He didn't know. Originally, when I asked him this question, he said, well, I'm good at closing escrows. Well, that wasn't the truth. Truth is, he was pretty weak at the closing escrow part. I said, no. Forget real estate. What is it you really, really good at? And take business. It could be anything. I'm the best skateboarder I ever met. I actually can bake a cake better than people I know. I can take the limits off. Tell me what you're good at. So, Tam.
I'm good at being transparent,
Ooh.
which makes people feel comfortable with me.
Okay, see, you're the local shrink.
You know what I am.
You are the local shrink to your homies, right? Your friends and family, right?
How did you know that?
I've watched you do this. I have seen you in action. I know a particular example that you and I have discussed a few times where you've been kind of the salvation to somebody.
Yes.
I watched it. Okay. And so this lady is being honest because people come to her and for some reason they feel like they can spill their guts and tell her anything. Matter of fact, she helped me a few times when I was like, do I kill him? No. She's like, DC, come on now, let's talk about it. So I agree with that. So let's do that. You are, how would you describe that? You say you are
I feel
easy
like
to talk to?
I think my honesty comes across and makes people feel like I'm easy to talk to.
Okay.
So I'm going to say honest and transparent.
Honest and transparent. That's really good. That's really good.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of folks that have a problem with honesty, particularly self-honesty. All right. And let's see. That next question, I want to skip that. Let's see. So would you agree that the next one is supposed to be, what do other people see as your strength? So did you find that people recognize these attributes in you early on?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. Case in point, I met a guy at an open house. True story. He brought his wife back the next day to this open house, and she was very, she had a wall up.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was talking with her, just sharing my life, that I watched that wall come down. The next day, I was at their home, listing their house.
I remember. I remember. They were looking at your open house. The next day, you were at their house listing their house.
But in that 30-minute listing presentation, it really wasn't a listing presentation. It was more of a conversation.
Let's just chat.
And the husband excused himself to do something, and within 10 minutes, I knew what had taken place in their lives in the past 2 years.
Wow.
The wife opened up and shared a lot of personal information. That made me feel good that she trusted me with that information.
So clearly, you have a knack for making people get comfortable, and when they get comfortable, they feel like they could be honest and can confide, right?
Honestly, Daron, it's not anything that I focus on. Mm-hmm. So I like to say that that's God's light shining through me.
Yeah, well, that's who you are. See, it's not a what you are. It's who you are.
Yeah.
And when we get to accentuate the who we are, well, that's when we're playing the cards that God dealt us. You see?
Right.
See, I wasn't dealt that card. People don't confide in me. they say, DC, how can I find
that hard to believe?
How can I make a $500,000?
Okay.
But so I'm not as much a psychologist type as much as I am an advisory type, right?
Right.
So I'm maybe less life coach and more business coach, whereas you might be more life coach than business coach. If we had to, if somebody said, okay, coaching hats, put one on, you'd probably be a life coach, and I'd probably be a business coach. I don't know, with that, but that's an important thing for you to know, because you play your cards that you got dealt. So the way you approach a listing appointment is way different than the way I should approach a listing appointment.
Right.
That's why these strengths and weaknesses are so important. You guys understand? That's why being honest with yourself, with who you are, is important. Because if I call myself the real estate chef and then people ate what I cooked, and when they got out of the bathroom, they'd be like, man, you ain't no chef. so you got to be honest with who you are.
Right. I just have one thing to add.
Yeah, sure.
And not to take over your show, I'm sorry, but I don't want to.
This is your episode.
Create this persona that I'm holier than thou. I would just like to add that experience breeds compassion. So if I'm compassionate about a person that's toward a person that's going through something, it's because I recognize that pain.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, see, you been there, done that. You
been there, done that.
You've seen a lot. You've been through a lot. You've felt a lot, and so you can relate.
I can relate.
Yeah, so you're not preaching at people. You're identifying with people.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. And they're identifying with you. There you go. Now, that's important. So if you're being honest, you'll talk really about what your strengths truly are. And when you can be honest with yourself about what your strengths truly are, then you get to play to those strengths. And then your style will help you do massive amounts of business. Does that make sense? This is awesome.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to department number 2. Here's the fun one. Weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? Okay, Tam.
My number one weakness, I'm easily distracted.
Easily distracted. Let's see, about 85% of real estate agents have that problem. Easily distracted. It's a common one, but it is also a very expensive one. Mm-hmm. Getting easily distracted takes you off of your track, off of your focus, off of your mission. And here's what I like to have people do. You'll see in an exercise we do in a page further down that we turn the income goal into an hourly wage.
Yes.
And when you know what your hourly wage is, then your weaknesses, your distraction that pulls you away from your focus, you can put a dollar amount on it. And so if you make $400 an hour and somebody comes and wastes 2 hours of your time, you can just go home and look in the mirror and say, I choked off $800 today.
Wow.
And that's when it gets real to you. That's the best way I know to get your focus back.
All right. So equate it to dollars.
You turn it into dollars. And if you could afford to waste that kind of money, then go for it. You can feel good about it. But if you can't, hold it down.
Ooh-wee. That one hit close to home.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
one.
You guys got to do that exercise. So when you turn your wastefulness and your time wasted and you're goofing off and you're taking days off and you're taking time off and you're sitting on the couch and you're watching Game of Thrones 8 episodes in a row, then you can put a dollar amount on it and you see how much that lag time cost you. Then it gets real. That's when it gets real. All right, weaknesses. Any other ones you can think of?
So going along with the weakness, I'm going to say time blocking or time management.
Time management. There you go.
Yeah.
That's big. And that's totally related to distractions.
Yes.
So that's perfect. That's a perfect segue. So time management. So again, those of you that listen to me regularly know that I am a big fan of time blocking.
Yes.
And that what I do, I think a simple formula that I believe in is if you work a 12-hour day, let's just say you work 12 hours. That would be ambitious for some folks, but say you work 12 hours. Then I chop those hours into 30-minute increments. So if you work 12 hours and you got 30-minute blocks, then you have 24 blocks in a day. And the cool thing about that is that means I got 24 half-hour segments, and I can fill my activities in a half an hour at a time. So if I'm going to door knock for 2 hours, that takes 4 of my blocks.
Right.
Right? This is a good way. If you eat lunch, hey, lunch takes an hour, and I got to eat lunch. Okay, 2 blocks.
2 blocks.
2 blocks. But the cool thing is when you break it down, you break your income down into a monthly salary and then a weekly salary and then an hourly salary.
Right.
You know how expensive a block is.
So that's why when we do our coaching appointments, you do 30-minute blocks.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So in a world where my goal is to be $1,000 an hour guy, if I let somebody steal an hour from me, it costs me $1,000.
Yeah.
You see? So that way it helps you quantify your time, qualify your time, allocate your time, and really be succinct with it. Hey, if somebody's got an emergency, okay, I know she asked me to come over because she's in a crisis. Well, I'm going to give her 30 minutes and listen to her crisis. I contend, here's my argument. I contend that you could do any activity in 30 minutes or less. A meeting, an appointment, a get-together, a crisis intervention. You can dedicate 30 minutes to anything and get it over with. That's what I say.
That's good.
That's
a
good, right?
Philosophy, yeah. 30 minutes is a good amount of time.
30 minutes is enough.
Yeah.
Is enough, okay? Anything that goes beyond 30 minutes sure better have a big reward at the end of the day. The guy who wants to sell his $11 million apartment building, he could get an hour. But everybody else is getting 30 minutes, okay? So, all right, let's go. How about this? So we talked about that answer. You just answered what factors lose your sales, because if you waste time, you're clearly not doing the other things you need to do.
Right.
What do you do poorly? Okay, let's talk about your organization skills.
Okay.
We talked about time management. How are you with your organization skills?
When I'm focused, my organizational skills are great.
Gotcha. So they are contingent upon removing one of your weaknesses, because if you can get focused, you can get organized and stay organized.
Absolutely.
When you lose focus, then you don't even have the chance to be organized.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not a weakness, but it's a weakness if the other ones exist.
Right. So
it's a weakness until you eliminate the others. Okay. So see, some of your weaknesses are weaknesses because you're not doing the other things that you know you should be doing. And then that becomes a liability to you because there's an opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is you're not doing your revenue producing things because you're being distracted by these shiny objects or your lack of focus. Make sense?
I'm going to add that as a strength also because I'm great at
Organization.
Yeah. So it's a strength and a weakness.
It is. It is. Contingent upon what else you're doing. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, one last weakness I'm gonna have you discuss. If I heard you correctly, you chimed in and said, "Hey, I need a Marlin." Now everybody needs a Marlin, but why is it you need a Marlin?
To assist me with putting together the presentation part of it.
Okay, so you're not the best or the most efficient at building your proposals, your CMAs, the things that, is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to say that
Okay.
because for a lot of years, when I was working way back for the state and all of that, I was an administrative assistant. So I know how to use the computer. It's a matter of knowing what a good one looks like. I don't feel like I've had a good model to follow.
Okay. So one of your weaknesses is you need good examples.
Good examples.
Okay, you need good examples. Okay. And then, now here's one that might go a little deeper that maybe you don't think about. If somebody said, hey, do a CMA for my home, and you had a good example, would it be the best use of your time for you to do it?
Not necessarily.
Bingo! You see, there's a time thief I just identified that you think you came back at me with, well, actually, I'm pretty good at building that kind of stuff. But the question then becomes, is it the highest and best use of your time to build that CMA? So I had somebody call the other night. I was in the middle of somebody's crisis, helping them with something. But somebody called and said, hey, I got this industrial building, and I think it's worth $4 million. Can you put together a proposal or CMA or whatever you want to call it, an offering memorandum, and come and talk to me about selling it for me? Mm-hmm. So do you think I ran to my computer and dropped everything and started punching out a CMA? No. What do you think I did?
Marlon.
Speed dial, Marlon.
Marlon.
Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You got to understand this. This is a big, big principle that handicaps and kills real estate careers. If I dropped everything I was doing, ran to my computer, and had to spend 5 hours putting this thing together, it would have cost me the rest of my day and probably the next morning as well. But what I was able to do, because it's a weakness of mine, I was able to get Marlon on the phone, hand it off to Marlon, and 2 hours later, that fool sent that thing to me, done, all polished and pretty. So the point is, what would have cost me 7 or 8 or 10 hours, and if I'm making $1,000 an hour, there's a whole lot of money. But I could pass it off to him, keep doing what I was doing, and tomorrow go present that proposal, never missing a beat.
Right.
So it's not always just because you're good at something or you could do something, it doesn't mean it's the highest and best use of your time. You got to maximize your time. So bear that in mind.
Okay. So with what you just said, I'm going to add to my list of weaknesses, not having a good system.
There you go. Bingo. A great system. Everybody needs a great system. In addition to needing a great niche, a great farm, a great area of expertise, you then need to put into place a system for executing. All right, we're going to jump to the third quadrant. It is opportunity. Okay, so this one I'm gonna scroll down all of the questions or possibilities because you won't have an answer for everyone, but let's think about it. It says, well, okay, so what are there changes in government policy related to your field, changes in social patterns, population, lifestyle changes, what interesting trends, man, I need my glasses too. What interesting trends are you aware of? Changes in technology, local events. Which things of these are opportunities that might help you get more business in 2020 if you focused a little time on them?
I feel like they're all opportunities.
Well, let's get specific though. Is there a particular government policy change that you might be able to exploit or take advantage of? Is there a social pattern, or is there a population shift? Is there a lifestyle thing? Is there a technology thing? I could think of a couple for you right now.
Well, technology-wise, of course, social media.
Bingo.
Government policy, I would say the low interest rates right now is a great
There
opportunity.
you go. Good thinking.
Okay.
Low interest rates, incredibly low interest rates. Just had somebody get quoted a 2.98 interest rate. 30-year loan, ladies and gentlemen. That's cheap money. We did the run. We had Speedy on the show just on Tuesday, and when we ran it, we had a 3.1 fixed interest rate.
Wow.
Come on, that's cheap money. That's an opportunity. If you're not out using the low interest rates as a lever to get people to listen to you and talk to you about their real estate possibilities, you're missing it, because that's an opportunity. In 4 or 5 years, when that interest rate is 7%, you're gonna be like, man, it would have been easy for people to qualify when rates were 3%. Okay, they're 3%, ladies and gentlemen. That's sort of like historic kind of lows in our lifetime, and that's part of the opportunity. How about social media? Have you done much in your business with social media yet?
Not nearly as much as I need to.
You know
I need to be more consistent.
that's where the business is going.
Yes.
You know that's where the business is. And everyone who's a top producer either is heavily into social media or getting into it. And if you don't shift your business into that realm and become proficient and efficient and a participant, you're going to get left behind.
Right.
That's just reality. I'm not saying drop everything and focus all your attention on social media, but you better start building it into your game plan.
Right. Agreed.
Because, here's the funny thing. I was reading a study about real estate. You got volume issues?
No, it came. I cut out. We're
Okay.
good.
You good?
Yeah.
What I studied about real estate agents, what was my point? Social media.
Social media.
Social media is where 95% of home buyers and sellers start their journey.
Right.
They go to Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or whatever the heck the services are, and they start by using that to try to figure out what their home might be worth if they're selling.
Right.
And they start looking for where they might want to live if they're buying.
Yes.
So if you're not weaving yourself into that equation, they're going to render you obsolete very soon. You see how this is working? Watch how it's working. People are starting their searches and their valuation research on the internet, right? And what they're going to, so a generic realtor is truly of no use anymore.
Right.
There used to be a day when you say, hey, look, I'll do a customized search for you. I'll come over and show you what I came up with.
Right.
I know you want to live in Corona, so I'll pull everything that there is in Corona. Well, guess what? They don't need you for that anymore.
Right.
They don't need you to pull up everything that's on the market in Corona, because Zillow is about to tell them.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So now what you have to do is become more valuable. And so that's why specialization and becoming the expert in Corona is of paramount importance.
True.
Otherwise, you are a commodity. You have to be able to offer something different that the rest of the real estate agents can't offer and that Zillow can't offer.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So now Zillow could run this general search and say, oh, here's what's available in Corona. Now you have to stop and say to yourself, now what can I do about Corona that Zillow can't really do? Right? So that's why when you guys hear me say build your Bible, what's for sale, what's sold, and what's expired, it's not just so it's because other people can't get that information. It's because if you have that information in your possession, number one, you can illustrate that you are a specialist in Corona.
Right. Right.
Now, the other thing to do is start to get under the skin of some of those things that have happened in Corona. So if I can walk into somebody's house, or if I can get somebody on the phone, and they're looking in Corona, and I can say, hey, Mr. Jones, I know you guys are interested in Corona. Did you know that there were 172 sales in Corona last year? There were 112 expireds last year. Of the 172 that sold, the median price was about $312 a foot. And I've spoken to most of those people who sold to find out why they sold, and I can share that information with you. Does it make sense for us to sit down?
Right.
And now I'm different. Now I got a story to tell. Now there's a reason for them to go, hey, she is the specialist in Corona. So before we buy something, and by the way, the seller's going to pay us the commission. So before we buy something, we should sit down and maybe she should rep us, because she seems to know more about Corona than anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
But if you were just real estate, generic real estate agent, like the other 2 million of you out there, what is my compelling reason to say, hey, come on, sit down with me?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So that goes back to systematizing.
Systems,
Yeah.
specialties. If you specialize in Corona, then absolute expert of Corona is a strength,
Right. Good deal.
right? Okay.
So I did get a good lead from social media.
Okay.
A friend of mine from nursing school contacted me
Nice.
just on the strength of he knew my work ethic in nursing school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, how about that? That tells you this is the people business. This is not the real estate business.
People
it's the
business.
people business.
Yeah.
He knew your character. He knew your work ethic. And he
Yep.
goes, if she's in real estate, she could be my real estate agent.
That's it.
You know what's funny? If you were a car salesperson, he would say, if she's in car sales, she could be my car salesman.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's the people game.
And it felt really good the way he edified me to his family. The scenario is they have a home in the family trust. His parents are deceased and left it to him and his brothers. So when I sat down in the living room with them for that meeting, I was almost in tears the way he edified me. It
Wow.
really felt good.
Wow.
Yeah. So
See?
definitely people business.
That's a big testimonial. That's a big testimony to you.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And it's also a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. The way you carry yourself in every facet of your life comes back one way or the other. One way or the other, these things
does.
come full circle.
Full circle.
And after you do a great job selling that home for them, guess what's going to happen? Everybody they talk to about real estate, they're going to be like, you got to call our girl Tam.
Yes.
You see?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you're going to piggyback on every one of those successes you've ever had in this business and go back to those people and say, who do you know
Right.
who needs my services in the next 90 to 120 days?
Good referrals.
There you go. There you go. Steve Sherrill can recite that just as fast as I can. Who do you know who needs my service in the next
Hi,
90 to 120
Stephen.
days?
How are you?
My man Steve.
Hi, Angie.
I think Steve might be like in Vietnam or Germany or China or something.
Let me just tell you, for an active duty
Military man.
military person, Stephen, I am so proud of you. You are doing the darn thing. Every time I look up, you have a house that has closed. I don't know how you do it.
He's killing it. He's killing it. He is killing it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to quadrant 4.
Wait, can we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
So, on the opportunities, the local events, that's a networking opportunity.
Yeah,
All
heck
day.
yeah. Heck
All
yeah.
day.
You shouldn't be the Corona specialist if you're not going to every local event in Corona that you can find.
Right.
Any opportunity. Oh, and it's the season right now.
Yes.
Now imagine this: if I wanted to start up in Corona right now, I could go right to some sources I got at my fingertips, Facebook and some more, and I could find every social event. Facebook will alert you
Yes.
about what's going on in your area. I could go to every social holiday event in Corona in the next 15 days, and if you don't think I would leave there with 20 new clients, you're making a mistake. Tam, you can go to 5 holiday parties in the next 15 days and come out of there with 20 new clients.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea. Where'd you get that idea? Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. You're a real estate mentor. What up, Dave Serpa? Tribe is in the
Hi,
house.
David. How are you?
So check this out. So there's an opportunity. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you think the year is over, you're making a freaking mistake. This is a great time to seed your January. Go to every holiday event you can get your hands on. Every holiday event you can steal an invitation to. Every holiday event your homies and friends are going to. Say, hey, let me roll to your company party with you. You got a date? Nope, I'll be your date. So go to as many of these functions as you can this time of year, right here, right now, and talk to people and say, hey, I'm in the real estate business. Now, wait, remember, you said you were a people person. Hey, I'm Daron Campbell. I'm in the real estate business. Who do you know that needs my services in the next 90 to 120 days? Because I am the best real estate agent in Corona, and I am the queen. Boom. And they're going to be like, dang, nobody ever talked to me like that. She must be good. She's got all that confidence. Well, here's my card. We're thinking about moving in the next 6 months. Bam. Walk out of 3 or 4 Christmas parties with 20 new leads and 20 new opportunities and get paid. If you only do 10 of those deals, you going to be upset?
No, not at all. So what you're saying is, what you just said triggered something for me. I need to go get my Kanye on.
That's
Kanye
right.
West is so
Yeah.
confident in everything that he does.
He is and he does. And if you don't believe you're worthy, then who else should?
Right.
If you don't believe you're the best, then either you need to go out and become the best, figure out what you need to do to become the best. If
Right.
you're not the most knowledgeable, you need to go and do what you need to do to become the most knowledgeable. You see the farm? You see why I tell you shrink that farm down? You see why I
Right.
tell you focus on Corona? If
Yes.
Corona's your farm, focus on Corona so that you can confidently say there is no real estate agent on planet Earth that knows more about Corona than me, Tam Pulliam, your real estate agent, the queen of Corona. Give me your card. Right?
Sold.
Right? Come on. Who can deny that? Who can
You
deny
guys
that?
see
I want to
why
buy
I
a
love
house
you?
in Corona from me right now.
And this is why I love you. Your infectious energy.
Well, if you make
Who
it
can
fun
deny
and
that?
interesting, who could not smile if you rolled up on them like that?
Right.
Right?
True
They
story.
smile, they feel good, they want you. I'm going to give you a hug, girl. Here's my card. We're going to sell our house and buy a new one. Here you go. Do that in the next 10 days. You got 10 days. Holiday parties everywhere in the next 10 days. Go out and get 20 new clients. Go to the holiday party and get 20 new clients. You don't have to have new clothes. Just clean the ones you got. Show up, look good, smile big, and talk to people. This is the people business, not the real estate business. And if you get on your people grind, good things will happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true story. I believe it.
Opportunity is sitting in front of you right now. I think I've been invited to 2 holiday parties in the next 48 hours. I'm going to both. And when I leave, everybody in the room is going to want to do business with Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. You could do the same. Make it happen.
I'm going to.
All right. Next quadrant. Let's talk about threats. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that just chimed in, we're going through the Daron Campbell Coaching Ultimate Business Planning Packet. Ding, 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 ding. Email us at info@DaronCampbell.com and Marlon will send you one courtesy of Daron Campbell Coaching. We're going through this document with Tam Pulliam, who's going to be the queen of Corona. And we're talking about how you analyze yourself in an honest way. And then you can make adjustments so that you can play to your strength, give your weaknesses to somebody else to handle, and let your business thrive. All right, Quadrant 4, threats. What are the threats to your business? Let's see. So what obstacles do you face? What are your competitors doing? Maybe what are they doing better than you? Are your job requirements changing? Is the landscape shifting? And could any of your weaknesses threaten your business? We know the answer to that for sure.
Right.
And then do you have financial problems? Okay, so let's go back to the top of that list. Can you think of any obstacles, any particular obstacles you face in the business, in your planning?
I would say one obstacle is pretty much just getting out of my own way. That's a
Oh,
threat.
that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So that could be a weakness and a threat. You know.
That's huge because you know what? I mean, hey, I'm going to put her on blast a little bit here, people. You can come up with some excuses better with the best of them. I'll say, hey, Tam, did you do this and that and this? And Tam will go, yeah, but I was about to, but what had happened was, and you know what? I think you got to toss that excuse thing out the window.
Okay.
Would you agree?
I agree.
Oh, she's
You
humble
just
too.
Put me on blast like
She's
that.
humble too.
I told
okay?
you guys I'm honest to
She's
a
honest.
fault.
She's honest. But look, the best thing we could do is recognize what's going on in our own way and be honest with ourselves and make those changes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. How about exterior threats? What about? Okay, I'll give you one that I might early recognize right off the bat. You're gonna jump into a marketplace, but I don't know if you have any closed escrows in that market yet.
I don't.
Okay, so a farm she has chosen, an area she has chosen to specialize in, she currently has had no closed transactions in that chosen area, right? So that's a threat because there's a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3 agent in that area right now. Now, threats can be, they can scare the crap out of you or they can motivate you. Now, to me, I look at this as motivation. We're going to identify those threats and get really specific about them, and then we're going to go eat their lunch. So what me and Tam are going to do, and this is what you might want to do if you're launching a new business or jumping into a new territory, identify who's already leading the pack. We're going to find number 1, number 2, and the number 3 real estate agents in her area. We're going to identify them, and we're going to go right after them. And we're going to go gobble up our share of that market, and she'll be in the top 3 by this time next year. So recognize what your threats are. Recognize who's already doing what you'd like to do. We'll see how well they're doing it, and we'll expose the weaknesses in their game plan by being better than them at those things.
Yeah, okay.
Make sense?
Good deal.
That's a good deal. And then let's see. Are job requirements changing? Well, that's kind of like are things shifting so that you ought to get on top of something that's a trend or going a concern. So what I would say to answer that is keep an eye out on all things in that city. So for instance, I'll give you a great example. I'm in the apartment selling business. The state of California just implemented statewide rent control. It affects every apartment building owner in the entire state. So that is a shift in my workplace that affects every potential client I have.
Right.
I need to make adjustments or take advantage of what that does. When the rent control gets implemented, some owners go, I'm out. I don't want to own apartment buildings anymore. You mean I can't raise rents no more?
Right.
So they're ready to get out. What does that mean?
More for you to live.
There's another 1,000 people that are going to sell their apartment buildings next year. And then they're going to trade into shopping centers or office buildings or something that does not have rent control.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's an opportunity. So you got to keep an eye on your city, keep an eye on your state, keep an eye on the IRS, keep an eye on your favorite president.
That's a lot of eyes.
And but that's the thing, eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
Because inevitably something every quarter or so changes that affects your buyers and sellers. Well, see, when the president took away the interest deduction in the mortgage
Yes, he did.
game, took it away.
Yeah.
So that changes the way some potential retirees that change the schedule on which they want to sell their house and go live more simply.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything has a ripple effect. Decide what those things are that most affect your business and your potential clients, and do it like that. How does it affect the people that you serve?
That's good.
How does it affect the people that you service every day so that then you can tell a better story?
Right.
Right? If I can call you up and say, hey, Mr. Jones, you know you own that 90-unit apartment building, and I know your rents are at an average of $1,200, a month per apartment. But do you know that rent control just got implemented so that you will no longer be able to raise those units to market rent whenever you feel like it? You can only raise them 5% plus CPI.
Yeah.
Whoa. And you know what? I talked to some people this week who didn't know that was the case for their apartment building. Changed the way they looked at it and said, you know what? Then maybe it's time to sell.
Yeah.
This is something he didn't know. So you do the same thing. Find out what things are affecting your audience and become the champion of that information.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, that was a good one. Thank you.
Take a threat and turn it around. Take a threat and implement it and apply it to your people, and then they'll make their decisions accordingly. And they'll look at you as the resource, the authority, the gift from God that brought them the information.
So turn a threat into an opportunity.
Bingo!
Yep.
Threats are opportunities. It's just how you package them. So take a look at it. Whatever threatens your people, what threatens their livelihood, what threatens their tax situation, what threatens their ownership, what threatens their longevity, what threatens their neighborhood. All of that, and apply it to your people, use it to your advantage, establish yourself as the absolute expert.
Got it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You want to identify all those, being honest, and apply them to your business. All right. Wow. We've been gobbling up the time with this. We're covering a lot of territory. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're just going to go quickly through the goal setting process with Tam. We're going to walk through those goals. You can do it with us. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, and we're going to walk you through the goal setting process. And let's see where we go from there. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. You're a real estate mentor. We're going to the top together, and I got Tam. She's my passenger. We're going to the top right now. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
That was cool. got to go fast.
Man, we'll do it. Hey, we are back. Road to a Million show is live. Road to a Million show on YouTube. Road to a Million show on Daron Campbell Coaching on Facebook. Here we are. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. We are all going together to the top, and I got my star pupil, Tammy Pulliam is in the house. What up, Tam?
Hey, Darren, can I do a quick shout out? I just got a text from my girl, D. Taylor. She's watching us live on Facebook.
What up, D?
Hi, D. How you doing, sis? Thank you for tuning in.
Good looking out, D. D's on your squad for life, huh?
Yes.
I like that. We all gotta have our team. We got our peeps.
She's working to get her real estate license as well. I know that her test is coming up soon.
Nice.
You met D. We had a
I met
conversation
D
with her.
Yes. Well, good. Welcome, D. Good to see you. Good to have you hanging with the tribe. We're breaking down Tam's $20 million business plan, and we're gonna make this the greatest year financially she has ever had, and we're doing it by planning systematically. She's not gonna make $1 million by mistake. Her success is going to be deliberate. We're gonna succeed on purpose. Okay? See, the harder you work, the smarter you work, the luckier you get. And so if you plan your work and work your plan, you can have predictable success. You don't have to get lucky. We don't have to get lucky. We'll show you how to do it on a plan. So we're in the middle of Tam's plan right now. We've identified strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to her business. And now we're going to do what I think is very important to do in words. And then when you're done with it in words, you should do it in pictures. So that's where your vision boarding comes in. She knows how to vision board because she goes to vision boarding events. And you guys know I have hosted vision boarding events. What I think is important is that you figure out what it is you want in life, write it down, and then illustrate it in pictures. Because if you think about it, we don't think in words. When I say to you water bottle, you don't think the word water and the word bottle. You think of a bottle. You see it. You can see the picture. You visualize it. Mm-hmm. So we think in pictures. So just writing your goals isn't enough. You need to give yourself visual aids that will help burn into your brain the image of that life.
Agreed.
So when we do our business objectives, I recommend we do it in this fashion. You plan out, you say what you want your life and your business to look like in 5 years. And then you back it down and say, here's what I want it to look like in 3 years. And then you say, here's what I want it to look like in a year. And then you say, okay, well, in that case, here's what I need to start doing tomorrow morning. And I think that's the most intelligent way to build your plan and work backwards to the life you want to have, but it tells you what you need to do starting immediately. So with Tam, we're going to give a couple of bullet points about what she'd like to have or see in her life in 5 years. What's your 5-year plan, Tam?
Two things. It's twofold. Okay. I would like to broker deals with investors, and I would also like to be an investor.
Ooh, that's big. That's big. I like that. She wants to broker deals with investors, meaning you want to expand your client base to investor types.
Yes.
Not just homeowners, right?
Right.
And then you want to be an investor as well.
Yes.
All right, now let's just take it one half a step further.
Okay.
All right, so what should your brokerage income be in 5 years? Because you're working with investors, you're doing bigger deals. You got people that come back and buy 3 and 4 and 5 houses from you. You got some people who buy an apartment building or 2 from you. And your deals are bigger, your paychecks are bigger. Your income is massive. You love it. You smile every time you think about what your GCI is for the year.
Right.
What's that number? Now, this doesn't count your investments. This is just the brokerage income.
The brokerage income?
Yep.
I'm going to say $1 million a year.
I'm going to say 1.5. So Tam's going to be making 1.5 a year in gross commission income predictably in 5 years. Predictably. Not by mistake. Not by lucky, oh, somebody chose me. Predictably. Okay? And then let's have an income property goal. How many income properties do you have?
In 5 years, I would like to have, I'm going to say 8.
8 doors, 8 properties, 8 units. She's going to have 8 of something. Make it 10. 10. Tam's going to own 10 places of residence, whether that's units or houses. She's going to have 10. There you go. That's a great 5-year plan. Now, if that were going to be the case in 5 years, what would those exact same categories look like in 3 years?
Lou. So in 3 years, I'm going to say I'll be halfway there. So I'll have 5 income properties.
There you go. And your income will consistently, at that point, your GCI will be at $750,000.
Okay.
You'll be earning $750 a year, predictably.
Yep. GCI.
GCI.
Okay.
Make sense to you guys? You see how this is working? Do you understand how this works? We're planning from the top backwards, okay? Now let's jump down to the short term, 1 year. If all that's going to happen in 3 years, then where will you be 1 year from today at the end of 2020? What has to happen if you're hitting the 1 year and you go, I am well on my way to that 3-year goal because of this?
So at the end of 2020, I would have to be...
It's not. So let's think carefully, because let me tell you how this works.
At the end of this year,
Yeah.
I need to have made $250,000.
There you go. And let me tell you how this works, ladies and gentlemen. Momentum begets momentum. So you might jump a couple $100,000 in the first year, but that'll allow you to jump $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 in the subsequent year, and then maybe even double that number in the subsequent year or two. So it's not an even stair step the way success happens. It's you jump one step, and then you jump another step, and then you jump 2, and then you jump 4, and then you jump 10. And your ability, the stronger you get, the bigger your jumps are.
Yeah.
The more confident you get in the business, the longer your leaps.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to shoot for owning 1 income property this year.
That's a great goal.
Okay.
250 and 1 income property by 12 months from now. Mm-hmm. That's doable. It's doable. You can see how that is totally doable. So,
Yeah.
See, when we talked about the 1.5 and the 10 units, you looked a little intimidated. But if you see how you back it down into what you need to do in 12 months, that looks completely doable.
Absolutely.
And if you did that, you are well on your way to that 3-year and that 5-year goal.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so now step 4, the final step in the business planning process is if you're going to have those things in 1 year, then what should your daily activity look like that you could begin tomorrow?
Work my butt off.
Yes, indeed. That is a fact. So what I would say is, the way I would break that down is I would say begin the domination of my farm.
Okay.
So if I were to begin the domination of my farm, what does that look like tomorrow morning?
That looks like so many hours of lead generating and lead follow-up.
Let's talk about that. Let's
Okay.
don't go past that.
Okay.
How many hours of lead generation and how many hours of lead follow-up?
So 3 hours of lead generation a day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 2 hours, 5 days a week, and 1 hour dedicated to lead follow-up.
I would say 2 and 2 is a better set of numbers.
Okay, 2 and 2.
Okay, there you go. 2 hours of lead gen. That's people you don't know, people you haven't talked to before, and then 2 hours of follow-up. That's 4 hours on the phones every day. Now, some people might go, well, that's not that much. Let me tell you, if I surveyed every real estate agent to see if they spend 4 hours a day on the phone, you know how many would tell me yes? 1%, less than 1%, maybe 1% of 1%. So if you can put this down and dedicate yourself to that, your success is unavoidable. I guarantee you that you will make $250,000 if you do this 5 days a week.
So for me, my lead generation looks a little bit different. It's going to be broken up into parts.
Okay.
The thing that I do best is open houses,
Okay.
and then followed up by phone, and then some door knocking.
Okay. Good. So what I want you to do then, your homework assignment is to decide what those days and times look like. If
Yeah.
you know you do open houses, the best open houses are on Saturday and Sunday. So how much of that, how many Saturdays and Sundays? Every Saturday and Sunday, 1 a week, 2 a week. You got to decide that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the 2 hours and the 2 hours has got to all add up,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So you decide where those time blocks are and just make sure you do the hours. If you do the hours, the deals are going to come.
Right.
You almost can't even get out of the way of them if you put the hours in.
Yeah.
You know, it's the craziest thing. There's a formula that I created back when I was cold calling for apartments, and the conclusion was I get a paycheck opportunity every 992 phone calls, right? I mean, it took me a while to figure out that was the math, but that's what the math turned out to be. So you know what my quest was every day? Burn through as many phone numbers as I can until I get to number 992, because there's a deal somewhere in that 992.
Yeah.
Right? So my goal was, it was a race. It was how fast can I talk to 992 people? And a payday was coming.
Yeah.
So you'll quickly start to see what the metrics are. But if you just do the hours, forget about the rest. The hours will take care of themselves. If you put in the hours, the deals will come.
Yeah.
Most people's problem is that they don't put in the work. So they don't have then they can't make the bills happen at the end of the month. They don't have an expense problem. They got an income problem. You got an income problem. You don't have an expense problem. You don't have to get a smaller car, move to a smaller house, spend less on groceries. You got an income problem.
Generate more income.
Make more money. That's the answer to every problem I ever had. Make more cash. If you make more money, your problems mysteriously start to get a lot smaller to you, right?
Right.
If something goes wrong, you can throw some money at it and make it a lot easier on yourself.
For
right?
sure.
And there's almost no problem that you could tell me that doesn't work for. Now, look, money doesn't create health, but it sure does enhance it, right?
Absolutely.
If I had enough money and I really wanted to get in shape, I could pay a trainer and a chef to get me there, right? If I hate putting together proposals and I'm not good at it, if I had enough money, I could hire me a Marlin.
Pay
Now,
Marlin to do it.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, everything can be enhanced. Everything can be smoothed out. Everything can be made easier with more money,
Yeah.
right?
True story.
So, and I'm here to tell you. So if there's one universal law of DC, it's put in those hours and the money will come. And when you get the money, you can smooth out anything you want. You want to see how, let me give you an example of how success breeds even more massive success. When Tam gets to 250 next year, when she gets to 250, and we sit here on this show 1 year from today, we're going to sit on this show and revisit the plan. But guess what will be different? She will have made $250,000. The next step in her 2021 business plan will be, you're going to hire an assistant.
Yes.
You're going to hire a telemarketer. You're going to hire a TC for every transaction you do. So she will have the help of 3 people in 2021. And you know what that's going to be able to do? Help her do? Someone else is going to call and set her appointments. So instead of figuring out who to prospect and what open house to sit, she's going to have an appointment setter who sets the appointments and sends her out to 4 appointments a day, so that now she's doing revenue producing activity all day. That's her day. That's her day. She never has to stop, never has to run the comps, never has to do the CMA, never has to make the phone calls, doesn't even have to sit the open house. Someone else will be setting the appointments for her. She'll just go and execute and make rain happen.
That's the plan. So I wrote 2 of the 3 down. Hire an assistant, hire a telemarketer,
And hire a TC.
Okay. I have a great TC.
Well, that's fine. But that you're going to pay somebody to do all that.
Yep.
Then all those things, those activities come off of your plate,
Yes.
and then you can focus on simply revenue producing activity.
Yep.
And that's your highest and best use,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
So if all your time was spent doing that, if you trained somebody, that assistant or someone, to say the right thing, do the right thing, handle that open house the right way,
Right.
they would leave that open house with 4 appointments for you on Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
You understand?
From your mouth to God's ears. It's out in the universe, you guys.
That's the way it works right here on
Watch
the Road
me
to a
work.
Million show. Watch her do this. She's coming back. She'll be back before next year, but in a year, she's going to come back just to talk about this. We're going to whip out that book, that piece of paper, and we're going to check off all the things that she has accomplished, and you'll see how magical this is. This works, ladies and gentlemen. This
Just
works.
so you guys see, I actually wrote it down.
She wrote it down.
So we're going to check them off one by one.
When you write it down, it gets real to you. You write it down, it makes it real.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
This is so exciting. I am so pleased. I'm so excited you came to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Always. I appreciate you.
It was fun.
I would just like to say, I want to edify you.
Oh, thank
To
you.
those of you out there looking for a good coach or a great speaker, Daron Campbell, he's what I call the whole loaf. There's no ingredient missing. He has everything.
Thank you so much.
I love the fact that you're willing to give back and help people grow.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I
so
appreciate
much.
you.
You heard it here, right here on the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell. I'm your real estate mentor, and I'll see you
At
at
the
the
top.
top. Peace. Make it a great day.
Bye.